Sawadee Krap and welcome to Pgtv, where we have a special report for you. The growing troubles in Bangkok arrived in Phuket on Friday as the Phuket chapter of the People's Alliance for Democracy, or PAD, converged on Phuket International Airport to close it down. Our team arrived just before the protesters, and what follows is our special report. Angered by scenes of beatings and tear gas in Bangkok, the first protesters arrived at the airport at about 1:30 p.m. Initially, they arrived in their hundreds, but by evening there were thousands of PAD supporters blocking access to the airport. At about 2:30 p.m., the protesters used vehicles to block road access to the airport. Police were called in from around the island to supervise the anti-government rally, which had swelled to an estimated 10,000 protesters by 3:30 p.m. At about 4:45 p.m., some 400 PAD protesters breached the main gate at Phuket International Airport, made their way onto the main terminal and smashed the windows of the VIP lounge. About 1,000 protesters marched into the PIA director's office building. Several hundred protesters stormed the runways, and airport officials ordered a halt to all air traffic. Tourists with outbound flights to catch were forced to walk several kilometers with their luggage, then clamber over a 2-meter spiked security fence as the traffic tailback stretched about 5 kilometers. Meanwhile, some arriving passengers were seen walking down Mai Khao Beach in a desperate bid to get out of the area without crossing the PAD protesters. A growing number of passengers were trapped inside the airport, and the only movement seemed to be through a back door at the airport staff's housing complex. Recent additions to the swelling number of protesters included hundreds of university students. Protest organizers at the airport told the Gazette at the scene that they will remain at the airport and at the airports in other provinces until Prime Minister Samak Sundaravét resigns. Phuket Provincial Police Commander Apirak Hongtong said that a meeting had been held on the issue, but did not say if or when police would try to forcibly remove the protesters. Constable Tongchai Kirat of Tha Chat Chai Police, one of about 90 officers at the airport, said he sympathized with the protesters because the government in Bangkok is corrupt and embezzling money from the people. A group of officers at Phuket City Police Station told a Gazette reporter that the police would not harm the protesters because our parents are among them. One action the police did take was to set up a checkpoint in Kok Keo near the entrance to the British International School to prevent large vehicles carrying PAD supporters from joining the protest. A source from Phuket International Airport said that many luxury vehicles were among those blockading the airport access roads, indicating that high-level people are supporting the rally. Finally, police persuaded protesters to leave the runway at Phuket International Airport on the agreement from airport officials that flights would not resume until their demands had been met. Phuket Governor Niran Kalainamit called an emergency meeting with his top staff, including Vice Governors Smith, Palawatvichai, Warapot, Ratsima, and Tri Okkaradacha. Deputy Phuket Governor Warapot Ratsisima affirmed that no violence would be used to drive the protesters out. While the great majority of Phuket people are staunchly opposed to current Prime Minister Samak Sundaravét because of his association with disgraced former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, the airport occupation has alienated some PAD members because tourism is being severely affected. Some have disowned the PAD movement entirely and called for an immediate end to the airport seizure. Thousands of tourists were stuck here at the end of their holidays. There is no train service in Phuket, and Bangkok, the country's international air hub, is 11 hours away by bus. In Krabi and Suratani, the airports were also closed. Phuket Airport finally reopened on Sunday at about 3:30 p.m. However, police guarding access to the airport allowed only airport passenger vehicles in through the main gate. Private vehicles were redirected to the southern entrance past the airport customs house. Prime Minister Samak announced on public television on Saturday that he had no intention of giving in to the protesters' demand that he resign. In response, the PAD leaders have said that they will rally again to close the airport along with Hat Yai and Krabi airports, which were also forced to close by PAD protesters. A source at Phuket Airport told the Gazette that she believed the protesters would return, saying, "They'll be back soon." We will keep you updated as and when information comes in on this continuing crisis here in Phuket. Now let's take a look at the weather. We can expect mostly cloudy weather with occasional thunderstorms. The high temperature is expected to be 32 degrees Celsius and the low 24 degrees Celsius. Winds are light from the east-northeast at 5 kilometers per hour. Sunrise was at 6:19 a.m. and sunset 6:35 p.m. Now let's take a look at the currency exchange. And now a look at the current events. The Soy Dog Foundation is having its annual fundraiser, Tales at Twilight Annual Fundraising Bonafit, on September the 13th at the Everson Phuket and Six Senses Spa. The private beach party extravaganza has raffles, auctions, and a great admission ticket draw prize worth over 70,000 baht. The ticket price of 2,000 baht will include a buffet dinner plus free-flow beer, wine and spirits all night. Ricky Zen Entertainment presents internationally acclaimed guitarist Colin Hill and the Vegas voice of Ricky Zen himself. Music is also provided by Kaleidoscope Sounds. Visit the website www.soydog-foundation.org for more information. And that's all from us here at Pgtv and our special report. Join us again tomorrow for more news. Thank you for watching us. Sawadee Kap.
Sawadee Kap Phuket. We're looking at a very functional and probably the most well-known exercise used with a bar today, is the bicep curl. Kune's just going to curl up straight in front and then straight down. Very, very easy exercise. You'll notice that it's going to go full range so the bar comes all the way down, and full range so the bar comes quite high, just above the sternum. Elbows are relatively still, chest is lifted, head's forward, eyes looking forward. This is an isolation exercise for the front of the arm, which is the bicep. Later on, we'll do integration exercises where we'll use both the bicep and a little bit of the shoulder and the back to make sure that the body is trained as one. But this exercise is excellent for strengthening the smaller muscles before we do the compound movements. Once again, remember, always isolate and do the small muscle training first before you later go on and integrate and train the whole body together. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.